One Piece Manga Chapter 1126 titled, Taking Responsibility. In this chapter, we once again encounter Bartolomeo and learn the fate of the Barto Club at the hands of Shanks and the red-haired pirates. We also see Blackbeard returning to Hachinosu and learn of Garp's fate. And finally, we witness something truly unexpected involving the Thousand Sunny and the Straw Hat Pirates. So sit back, relax, and watch until the end of the video, as all of that is revealed. The cover page of the chapter is the 14th volume of the limited cover story, Oni Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage. In the previous volume of the limited cover story, Yamato finally reached the Kuri region. But when Yamato arrived at Odin's castle, he found out that the chief carpenter, Minatomo, was missing. This volume continues with Yamato eating noodles at a soba shop. As Yamato talks with the waitress, Yamato learns that something strange is happening in the area. Some of the girls working at the store have disappeared. The chapter begins where we left off in chapter 1125. The Straw Hats are catching up with their old giant friends. Kashi is excited to see Luffy and the crew again. He says it's been a long time since they left them back at Water 7. Oimo admits their impatience in reuniting with their captains. After parting ways at Water 7, they went straight to Little Garden. Luffy chews on his meat as he listens to Oimo and Kashi. He chuckles, happy to finally know what happened to the giants and their captains. It isn't strange for the two to be curious after 100 years of not meeting them. Before chapter 384, Oimo and Kashi thought the world government had captured Bragi and Dory. They were tricked into guarding Enies Lobby, believing their captains would be freed. But thanks to Usopp, they learned the truth and helped the Straw Hats and Galley Law Company fight back against the Marines. In the limited cover story of chapter 490, Oimo and Kashi set off for Elbaf, waving goodbye to Water 7. And in chapter 1076, the two are finally revealed to have reunited with their captains. Oimo and Kashi reveal that Bragi and Dory were fighting barehanded when they arrived. Everyone wants to know why. Bragi lets out a heartful laugh. Dory, on the other hand, reveals that their weapons broke. If we go back to chapter 129 of the manga, Bragi and Dory throw their blades into the sea. The swords were reduced to their hilts after they used them one last time to defeat the Island Eater and help the Straw Hats set sail. The mood on the giant warrior pirate ship is lively as they talk about the past. One of the crew jokes about how tough their captains are. After all, a punch isn't enough to bring them down. The giant pirates agree. If this was a fight to the death, their captain's stubbornness would be a big problem. In the end, Dory and Bragi decided to head back to Elbaf. Dory explains that Oimo and Kashi convinced them to get new weapons before continuing their fight. Nami is surprised to know their reason for going home. She can't believe that Bragi and Dory's fight isn't over yet. Wide grins flash into the giant captains' faces. Of course their duel is still going on. Nami's had enough of their logic though. She just can't understand how Bragi and Dory think. While most of the crew enjoys the party, Usopp is upset with Nami's comment. He feels she didn't learn anything from their time in Little Garden. Luffy agrees with Usopp and encourages him to speak up. For those of you who might not remember, Bragi and Dory have been locked in mortal combat over an argument they can't even recall from a century ago. But we remember what that argument was about, and it was all because of an innocent little girl named Yuki. Dory and Bragi hunted and killed two Sea Kings, which were of equal size. Yuki had asked them which one was bigger, and who won the hunting contest. Dory and Bragi could not agree on which Sea King was bigger. This led to a duel to the death, as it was part of the giants' culture. In Elbaf, if there was any argument or dispute that could not be resolved, they were to battle to the death. It is the belief that the victor would be determined by the gods of Elbaf. Usopp and Luffy admire them for it. They believe that it is a glorious battle between true warriors. Nami, on the other hand, has considered it a nuisance from the start. Meanwhile, Sanji compliments the booze he's drinking as strong. The giant introduces it as the Green Fairy. He laughs as he warns Sanji to be careful, saying that the liquor might make him hallucinate. The party continues with a fun series of events. Luffy leaps through the air holding a giant piece of meat. At the same time, Robin and Lilith are snacking on some huge fruits. Sanji and Usopp run towards Jinbei with booze in their hands. Joy dances in their faces as they enjoy Brook's music. Meanwhile, Frankie and Chopper are putting on an entertaining show. Nami and Zoro couldn't hold back their laughter as they watched them. On the other side of the ship's deck, Bonnie is sitting on Kuma's stomach. Excitement fills up her expression as she looks at her father's face. A visible smile surfaces on Kuma. Bonnie giggles. She is happy to finally be able to declare that they reached the horizon together. It's heartwarming to see Bonnie finally achieve her dreams. Ever since she's been healing from the sapphire scale disease, Bonnie really wanted to travel the world with Kuma. The scene shifts to Galter Island. Over a month ago, an incident occurred here in this part of the New World. The pirate known as the cannibal Bartolomeo infiltrated the city, which is part of Emperor Shanks' territory. He burned the flag as an insult to Shanks. As seen in Chapter 871 and Chapter 873, Bartolomeo and his crew were selling Luffy merchandise to island villagers at a discount. He later saw Emperor Shanks' flag and learned that the town was part of his jurisdiction. In Chapter 875, Bartolomeo burns the flag, planning to replace it with Luffy's straw hat symbol. Back at the present, Bartolomeo is kneeling in front of Shanks. His hands are tied up after getting beaten up by Shanks' crew. Bartolomeo's friends could only watch in fear, powerless to help. Shanks has no choice but to punish Bartolomeo. Many crews and islands rely on his flag for protection. If he just lets this whole incident slide, people would lose faith in him. If that happens, his friends and allies would become the enemy's targets. That is something Shanks can't afford. Bartolomeo completely agrees. He hits his head on the ground, begging for Shanks' forgiveness. Bartolomeo admits to not thinking things through. He knows it was a foolish mistake for him and his crew. The townspeople watch in silence, waiting for Shanks' decision. However, Shanks remains serious. Hongo then shows Bartolomeo a small bottle, saying it is a deadly poison. He gives him a very heavy task. Within 1 month, Bartolomeo must make sure Luffy drinks the poison. Bartolomeo's face screams in confusion. He struggles to understand what he is being told at that moment. Simply looking at the bottle, Bartolomeo knows that it causes intense pain. Hongo also tells him that the poison causes blood eruption, which brings the victim's brutal death. He promises that they will look over the incident if Bartolomeo takes responsibility and accomplishes the task. The Barto Club members instantly protest. There's just no way they could ever harm Luffy. In the next moment, Bartolomeo grabs the bottle with his mouth and drinks all of it. He gulps every single content of the poison, sacrificing himself for Luffy. The Barto Club pirates drop their jaws in surprise. One of them bursts into tears, wondering why their captain would do such a thing. They try to stop him, but it's too late now. Now that Bartolomeo had swallowed the poison, their screams are pointless. As the Barto Club pirates fear the next terrifying moments, Hongo, Shanks, and Beckman simply watch in silence. Bartolomeo exclaims that he's fine with dying. Tears and snot stream down his face as he declares his reasons. After all, Luffy never asked him to burn Shanks' flag or share the sake. He doesn't want Luffy caught up in his own mess. Bartolomeo knows Luffy's time is too precious to waste on him. He says it's fine if he's just another nobody who gets killed by an emperor. Luffy-senpai! Shanks diverts his eyes, refusing to watch Bartolomeo's pitiful state. Bartolomeo's voice breaks with emotion. He wishes to see Luffy become the Pirate King, but now that dream is gone. He already threw that chance away. In the end, Bartolomeo entrusts his dream to his companions. The Barto Club pirates cry their hearts out, calling for their boss. As Bartolomeo looks up in the sky, he bids farewell to his friends. But then, out of nowhere, a burp comes out of Bartolomeo's mouth. Bartolomeo is not dead, and the poison doesn't work. Even Bartolomeo himself couldn't believe that he was still alive. The scene shifts to the coast of Gartel Island. As the going Luffy senpai sets sail, Bartolomeo is still trying to figure out what just happened. After all, Shanks let them go with barely any punishment. But right now, all the Barto Club pirates care about is getting as far from the island as possible. The tension melts away as the crew finds out that the poison is fake. Now they know that it wouldn't have hurt Luffy at all. Bartolomeo feels relieved that Shanks showed mercy. He always thought emperors were ruthless, so learning that Shanks isn't as harsh as he had believed comes as a big relief. Little did they know that it was all part of Shanks' test to assess their loyalty to Luffy. Back on the Gartel Island, Beckman smiles as he wonders why Shanks is grinning. Shanks just smirks.
礼を言われるようなことじゃないさ。
He finds it hard not to smile after seeing how much Bartolomeo admires Luffy. However, Yasop suddenly asks Shanks to step out of the way. He aims his weapon at the going Luffy senpai, ready to teach them a lesson. In the next moment, a huge explosion occurs. On this day on Gartel Island, the Barto Club pirate ship sank. Flames quickly devour the vessel, slowly turning Luffy's figurehead into ashes. No one knows if any of the crew survived. The scene shifts to Hachinosu Pirate Island. Finally, Blackbeard is back. But instead of celebrating, he's scolding Pizarro for the damage to the island. Blackbeard is furious with him for letting the island become a mess. He's not even gone that long, but things went bad quickly. Blackbeard doesn't want to hear his excuses. He warns Pizarro about the chaos that is about to hit their world. The poneglyphs aren't a secret anymore, and at this rate, Blackbeard and his fellow emperors will have to fight over them. Blackbeard emphasizes the involvement of the world government and the Marines. He tells Pizarro that they surely won't just sit by and let things happen. They won't win against them if they're not ready. Blackbeard's initial plan was to use Kobe as leverage in their negotiations with the Marines and the world government. He was their ace in the hole, but now he got away. Pizarro is really sorry for his mistake. He says he doesn't freely let Kobe escape, but Blackbeard just gets angrier. After all, he learned just now that Moria has successfully bolted for his freedom too. Meanwhile, San Juan Wolf is busy helping with the island's reconstruction. He asks where to place the shop he's holding. His companions guide him, but more problems arise. San Juan Wolf accidentally destroys more structures due to its gigantic size. At the same time, the pirates in Hachinosu are fired up. Their voices rise in pitch, barely able to hold back their excitement. Everyone raises their blades as they call Blackbeard. They are ready for any orders or commands. The pirates know that Blackbeard will be the man who'll claim the One Piece. They believe he's the one who's going to take over the world. In an epic double spread, Blackbeard and the 10 Titanic captains are celebrating. Despite Pizarro's grave failure, Blackbeard is pleased that their morale is on the rise. He knows he's got to take advantage of that. Blackbeard then asks Kuzan for a report. It's true that Kobe got away, but there's good news to compensate for that. Kuzan then reveals that they've caught Garp. Vasco broke into fits of laughter. He considers the achievement as a consolation prize. Pizarro praises Blackbeard for this catch. Even though they lost Kobe, he managed to find someone more significant as a trade-up. But Kuzan doesn't seem happy. He admits he was going to kill Garp, but he obviously failed. The scene briefly shifts to a dark prison. Garp's figure surfaces. He is heavily chained up, covered in wounds and bandages. In chapter 1088, Kuzan and the Blackbeard pirates successfully captured Garp. Garp accepts his defeat with a hearty laugh as he declares that their mission to rescue Kobe was a success. Blackbeard comforts Kuzan. He tells him not to be too hard on himself, knowing there aren't that many people who could take down Garp. Still, Kuzan credits it as a team effort. Meanwhile, Burgess howls with laughter. He declares that the winds of fortune are finally blowing in their favor. Blackbeard then grabs Pudding roughly with his right arm. Pudding cries in pain, but Blackbeard doesn't care about it. He's just proud to have captured someone from the Three-Eyed Tribe. After all, Pudding can read and translate the ancient texts on the poneglyphs. And Blackbeard will surely use that ability to find Laugh-Tale and One Piece. As Blackbeard orders someone to contact Laffy, Pudding lets out a frustrated sound. The scene shifts to the Navy Unit shipping headquarters. Amidst the bustling noise and the burning ships in the port, Laffy's voice can clearly be heard. Now, here's something you might not know. Umit is a tycoon in the shipping industry and one of the emperors of the underworld. He oversees merchant vessels that supply the world government with foods and other necessities. Blackbeard demands a report about the movements of the Revolutionary Army. Laffy informs him that their attacks against the world government have proven to be effective. He reveals that the gondolas in the Red Port always break when the Marines load them with food. Here's more info for those of you who don't know or might have forgotten. Gondolas are large vessels that travel from Red Port to Marie-Joise. They are the only means of transporting people and supplies up to the Red Line. Laffy further adds more valuable intel. He says that all supply shipments from foreign nations have also been stopped. Even when the Marines manage to secure food, they can't stop the gondolas from breaking. At this rate, the celestial dragons may really start to starve. For LUFFY, this turn of events is unprecedented. However, he can't deny that they are exciting. On the other line, Blackbeard's laughter lets out. This is no longer the time to sit back and watch. He orders LUFFY to get ready, and LUFFY eagerly agrees. The scene shifts to the coast of Hachinosu Pirate Island. Katarina Devon uses a Din Din Mushi to call Pizarro, telling him they've arrived. Pizarro is surprised to see her again, but Devon orders him to come and get them. For those of you who might have forgotten, here's a bit of info about Pizarro's devil fruit, the Shima Shima no Mi. With its ability, Pizarro can merge with an island and have complete control over it. Nonetheless, it appears that Pizarro is slowly recovering from the heavy punches he received from Kobe and Garp in chapter 1088. Pizarro reminds them that he is still badly injured. But despite complaining, Pizarro still docks the warship. Caribou yells frantically, his voice is shaking, and he is barely able to beg Pizarro not to take him away. Tears and a cold sweat flow down Caribou's face. He calls Katarina Devon and Augur Big Sis and Big Bro as he begs them to save him. Unfortunately, Katarina Devon coldly orders him to stop talking nonsense. On the other hand, Augur tells Pizarro that they have successfully brought Caribou. If we go back to chapter 1122, Katarina Devon suggests to Blackbeard that they kill Caribou. But Blackbeard spared him in exchange for information, with plans to end him if it's useless. What they don't know is that Caribou knows the locations of the 3 ancient weapons. The scene shifts to the Great Warrior pirate ship. As their voyage toward the fabled warland of Elbaf continues, a major problem comes up. It's been 2 days since they left Egghead Island, but even with the sailing speed of the Great Warrior pirate ship, they still haven't reached Elbaf. And something unexpected happened. The Thousand Sunny has vanished without a trace. Broggy, Dory, and Brooks' thoughts race. They are worried and desperate to know what happened. Also, where's the Thousand Sunny now? Did everyone pass out from drinking too much? The crew knows they need to find their missing friends. Luffy, Nami, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, and Chopper were in the vessel when it mysteriously disappeared. They can't go to Elbaf without them. Robin wonders if they were eaten by a giant fish. Frankie quickly tells her to stop saying that. The sea creatures here are massive, so he's worried that Robin might be correct. Frankie could only shout Luffy's name, wondering where he could have gone. The scene shifts to an unknown room. An unfamiliar voice yells at Nami, forcing her to wake up. Nami groans as she opens her eyes, thinking that she must have had too much to drink. Nami holds her aching head. However, as Nami looks around, she realizes she's in a huge, unfamiliar room filled with gigantic Lego pieces. Her clothes have changed into an Elbaf outfit, with a sword strapped to her back. A puzzled word escapes Nami's mouth, as she wonders what this ominous place is. And the chapter ends. Who do you think that unfamiliar voice is from? And with all that Blackbeard is planning, and us seeing more of Shanks, does it really feel like One Piece is coming to an end soon? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you, so comment below. As always, press like if you enjoyed the video, and if you don't want to miss out on future One Piece chapters like this one, definitely subscribe and hit that bell icon. And make sure to share this video with your One Piece friends. There won't be a break next week, so I'll see you next week. Till then, thank you for watching the video, and have a great day, Nakama.